Grand Horizons. Hope you're having a blessed day and you're enjoying your dawning or your afternoon or your evening or whatever time it is that you watch this. Still quite early here, but the sun is shining, as you can see. Well, I suppose it's always fucking shining, really, isn't it? The sky is clear. That's probably a better way to say it. Yeah, I'm having a good day. It's a bit cold, but it's nice. Today, I want to talk about, the purpose of the video today is to share some wisdom that I was gifted some wisdom from my children. My children gifted me some wisdom. Words. Over the last week, there's been, I suppose because we've been in hermit mode, winter mode, hibernating mode, we've been inside a bit more, we've been indoors, doing more indoor things, like practicing, instruments and writing and relaxing and the kids have been normally we have deep conversations, I suppose. It's quite a common occurrence for us to have quite philosophical conversations, which I really enjoy actually, because most of my children don't share similar views to me. They don't share same opinions, I suppose. Some of them are similar along the same kind of track, but most of my children have, not that they're not good people, they just have different opinions on life and diet and spirituality, God, religion, that kind of thing. They have different hobbies and preferences, and which is nice. That's the way it's supposed to be. I don't want them to be exactly the same as me, because that's not the point. The point, I suppose, of being a parent and having children is to watch your children grow into their own being, their own person, their own version of the universe, their own version of self, and and it's a beautiful thing. So we can have really interesting conversations. And over the last week, they have completely blown my mind. Completely blown my mind. I've been so impressed with and I'm not oh, my child's done this and my child's done that. I'm not normally like that, to be fair. I appreciate them as individuals and beings, but they're not measured on the things that they do. They're not measured on the things that they do. So one's just shown me a parcel's come, a Christmas parcel has come, and she was showing me through the window. Really excited. So they're not measured on the things that they do or their achievements, or their opinions, because those things change. Those are changeable. Their being is constant, and that's what I try to appreciate. But over the last week, some of the things that they've come out with have really given me a pause to think. And one of them I really had to meditate on. It was so profound. It was just whoa. And one of the things, so the first thing was a few days ago, my 16-year-old, we were just chatting about stuffs, I don't know, experiences, I think it was. I can't remember what the exact conversation was. Oh, it's cold. I can't remember what the exact conversation was, but it was along the lines of like experiences and how we interpret our experiences, and how each person can interpret experiences differently based on, you know, their personality, the way their brain works, their previous experiences. And he turned around and he said, I was sitting the other day and I had a realization that nothing can ever be different to how it is. So there's no point in, I mean, I'm just paraphrasing here, I'm trying to think of it, like, he said it was so much better than me. It was along the lines of like, nothing can ever be different to how it is, because even if you make like different decisions or different choices, that affects what's to come, and it still doesn't change what has been. And so really everything is exactly how it's supposed to be, because that's the way it is. And I was just like, well, yeah, like, I mean, it took me fucking years and years of, you know, sifting through trauma and removing addictions and meditating and yoga and fucking all sorts of stuff for me to come to that realization. And he had just been sat there one afternoon, like, just chilling on the sofa, listening to some music, and come to that realization at 16. And I was like, well, yeah, actually, that's how I feel. That's what my opinion is of life. And, you know, I suppose everything is as it should be, because that's how it is. There isn't any other way of being in that moment. That's just how it's unfolded. And I said, you know, and we went on to a nice discussion about how, you know, your perception on past events can change, but it's still only from the now. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. Well done. Like, that's really like profound for somebody of your age to come to that conclusion. And then this is the bit that like really blew my mind, because again, it took me fucking years to come to this like realization, this remembering, as I'm about to say. And he said, and when I realised that that was the case, I realised that it was a bit like coming across a corner in your house that's always been there. You just haven't noticed it. And so it wasn't really like a it was kind of like the realisation was more like a discovery. Like, the information was always there in my brain, in my being. That information, it was always there. I just hadn't noticed it. Like, just because I hadn't noticed it, that doesn't mean it wasn't there, that information. And I was just like, yes, exactly. It's like a remembering more than a learning, like a, yeah. And I was just like, blew me away. And then we started talking about, you know, words and their meanings, and I was like, well, this would be what I would call an inner standing. This is why and we started talking about the root of understanding, to stand under something, and that really what you want to do is to overstand or inner stand. And I prefer to use the word comprehension or inner stand. And it's more of a knowing, because it comes from within. It's not something you've read, it's not something you've been told, it's not something you've taken on, it's not something that, you know, you've watched a documentary about, or you've, you know, read in a book, or someone's taught you this. It's your own. It's from within. And he was like, yeah, exactly like that. Like, it's come from within. It's a knowing that. But I feel like that information was always there, like that corner in the house. You just haven't noticed it yet. It's been undiscovered. And I was just completely blown away. It like really fucking it was exciting, and it kind of left me a little bit speechless. Like, even telling the story, I'm like, it doesn't, like, me telling this story does not convey the way that he gave me that information. I mean, it's something that, you know, I've already come to the realization of, the remembering. I like to call it a remembering, because as he said, the information has always been there. It's just like it clicks, and or it trickles down, or it sifts through somehow, like water filtering through sand. You know, it takes a while, and then it drops down. There are many beautiful analogies for how, you know, these things come to pass, but it just made me really excited, I suppose, that he'd managed to come to that realization. He'd managed to remember and find that information within self. At such a young age, without, you know, and our opinions about God and universe and are somewhat different. And life in general. But the fact that he'd come to that conclusion, that it just gave me sort of, it made me smile. It made me really happy. And really, it kind of gave me hope, I suppose, for, you know, to see it happen in such a different way. It doesn't have to, you know, we're all on different methods of transport to the same destination, right? So that was the first part of this week that, like, made me go, whoa, yes, that. And I suppose it helps when you see other people coming to these realizations in their own way, but they're very similar realizations. That is what I would call universal wisdom. That is, like, whatever you want to tap into, source, you know, God, creator, coder, universe, Akashic records, the energy structure of what everything is made of, you know, plants, trees, animals, space, planets, that. It was a beautiful moment that we shared. And then a couple of days later, my youngest, who's 14, he's always had a bit of a weird relationship with sleep. Always had a very weird relationship with sleep. I wouldn't say weird, that's probably not the right word. Unusual, not typical relationship with sleep. He really struggles to sleep, but then when he does sleep, he sleeps deep. Like, you can poke him and touch him and call him and shout him, and, like, you know, and he really struggles to wake up. And then when he does wake up, you can see that he's still not quite in this realm. He's still somewhere else. And it takes, like, a significant amount of to get him up. And he quite often talks in his sleep. He quite often, like, shouts and talks and says very random things in his sleep. And the other morning, I tried to wake him up twice. He had to get up for something. And I'd done the gentle thing, and then I'd done the, I'm just checking that you are awake. And he'll respond even though he's not actually awake, which is quite confusing, because then I'm like, well, are you awake? Or he'll open his eyes. And he won't remember that at all. Like, what? Like, did you? And he's not making it up. I know, like, probably a lot of teenagers, or, well, kids maybe might do that, but you can tell that he's not. I have a good parent radar, and I can tell he's not making it up. And so the third time, my daughter was going upstairs, and I went, could you just pop your head in on Leo and please just make sure that he is actually awake. I have tried twice. And so she went, oh. And she did the thing, and then she tootled back downstairs. And she was like, he was, like, really out. I had to, like, poke him, I had to, like, stroke his face. And then he said a really weird thing. I was like, oh yeah, what's he saying today? He said, tape the student's teacher to... No, hang on, let me get this the right way. Tape the student's face to the teacher's. That was it, yeah. Tape this... Just making sure I got it the right way around. Tape the student's face to the teacher's. And I was like... That's... like, really fucking... profound, man. Like, that's just... What? And she's like, I know, like, how weird, right? I'm like, yeah, but think about that. Like, think about that statement. That's like really fucking... That sounds like some sort of Zen master sitting on a mountain. Like, you travelled hundreds of miles to go and see. And he just comes out with, tape the student's face to the teacher's. And I was like, no way. And I was really thinking about it. And I was like thinking, that's like some fucking... That's more universal wisdom right there. And she was telling my 16-year-old, she was telling Caleb, and Leo must have heard us talking about it, and he was on his way downstairs, and he's like, I know, it's weird, right? I have no control over what I say when I'm asleep. I remember saying it, but like I can't stop myself from saying it, and I'm not sure whether I'm asleep or awake, or whether that's reality or not, and I was like, yeah, but that's like a really cool statement, dude. Like, tape the student's face to the teacher's. Like, take the student's face onto the teacher's. And he was like, yeah, it was a really weird dream, because like in the dream, everyone was saying that we needed to tape the teacher's face to the students. And I was like, no, we need to tape the student's face to the teachers. I was like, whoa, that's even more profound. Like, I'm gonna have to meditate on this. Like, this is just like, whoa. And it's just when you like open up your brain to these kinds of like little things, it can become really intense sometimes. And I've already had this conversation with somebody about this idea that you never really want somebody that is only ever a teacher and is only ever a student. You know, really a good student can teach the teacher something, and a good teacher can learn from their student, right? And that's really, so it becomes like this sort of flippy floppy thing, like, you know, rather than a hierarchy. I don't quite like that word, but I can see why there is a need sometimes to look up to something and to guide. Or maybe that would be a better way of putting it, actually, rather than look down and look up. Lead and follow. Okay, that's a better way. Working the process through while I'm talking to you. So I always saw it as maybe like looking down and looking up. So like when you're teaching, you're like, this is how you do it, and when you're learning, you're looking up and going, teach me. And it kind of becomes this, really what we need to be doing is like this flip-flop, where it becomes like I thought of it as like this rotating thing, which I suppose is like the universe. If you was to, instead of it being like that, if you was to do it like this, it'd be like dancing, you know, leading and follow. Oh yeah, leading and following, of course, dancing. And so all of this just from like having random conversations with my children. And then some of those conversations were actually repeated with other people, like at events that I've been to this week, like open mics and poetry things, and talking to people, and they have not replicated, I'm trying to think of the right word. They have said almost the exact same thing themselves. So they must be also coming to the same realizations and rememberings and discoveries separate from what we're doing, and those people will be having completely different methods of coming to those realizations, completely different lifestyles and thoughts and opinions and experiences and personalities and beliefs, and it's like we're all coming to the same conclusion, and it's so beautiful to watch it unfolding in front of me. Like, yes, oh yes. And it's just making me more and more excited. about like humanity and our ability to just ascend and come above this fucking matrix Babylon bullshit crap that is fake, that is not real, that is just perpetuating fucking false narratives of fear and panic and lack, and it's just making me really excited. And I really wanted to share that with you guys and sort of ask, I suppose. I'm interested in what you think about the things that I've spoken about, like the realizations that my children have come to and what they've said, and the fucking teacher's face thing, like tape the student's face. Teachers. Wow. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. Humans are amazing. Look at what we're capable of when we drop the fear, when we drop the illusion of fucking fear and panic and lack and greed and anger. You know, when we drop those things and we just sit with self, we have all the fucking information in the universe available to us, and it's all right here. It's all right here. All of it. And we just have to quieten the mind, sit with self, ignore the fucking bullshit, ignore the fear mongering and the division of, you know, fucking, there's always a division, them versus them, this versus that, and it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. It's just fake. It's fake bullshit. Turn off the social media. Turn off the fucking news. Stop reading the fucking newspapers. And it's all bullshit. It's just a fucking bullshit fake narrative to keep you in this like state, and it doesn't exist. And just listening to my children come to these realizations, and then hearing other people speak about them, yeah, it's making me excited. Like, you know, it's speeding up. The collective ascension is speeding up, and I am so fucking excited. And I keep meeting different people that, oh, hey, Robin, you look fat today. Fucking hell. Robin's looking fat. But it's making me excited. It's happening, you know. The collective ascension is happening, and I'm seeing it in so many different areas. And I'm meeting more and more people that have come to the exact same realizations. And you know, I'm not on about fucking people that sit and read and do the whole like mimicking other people's ideas and like then repeating them and parroting them without actually integrating them, without actually knowing those thoughts as for what they are. It's like you can parrot, it's like schools, right? You know, you can parrot, you can teach children to repeat information so they can pass their tests, but do they actually comprehend that information? Have they actually integrated it into their being, into their day-to-day life? Is it something that they just know to be truth, or are they just parroting information and repeating and remembering like to say it in the exact right order so that it appears that they have knowledge and wisdom? No, I'm not talking about people that will sit and recite something that they've learned in a degree. You know, there's no fucking judgment against people that like seek education. It's just that there's a knowing, you know, and then there's a copying, a parroting. You know, a parrot can say things and appear to be clever, but do they actually comprehend that information? Do they actually, have they discovered it themselves? Have they sat with it and sifted through whether that is actually truth or not? Because there's so many fucking books out there with so much information, and you know, rapidly as time goes past, more and more information that is written down in academic books is being discovered as being like false, or you know, not necessarily purposely, just we thought that was right and it wasn't. And a lot of these books aren't getting changed. A lot of this information is still being taught in schools as truth, and it's not. It's like, yeah. So please, I'm really interested to know like what you think about the things that my children have come to the realizations of. Oh, there's a spider. That's really well. Like, just dropped off the tree and floating around on his web. Pretty cool. You know, and if you've come to any of these realizations and how you feel about this information, are you finding that in your life? Are you meeting more and more people that have come to the same realizations that you have come to from a completely different space, you know? Been chatting to this guy, and he said almost the exact same thing as somebody else that I know. It's like, oh, you know, I'd be really interested in chatting about, you know, X, Y, and Z, because it seems like we're looking at the same thing but from a different place. And I have somebody else that said the same thing, like the exact same thing, but in a like slightly different wording. You know, same view, different standing point. You know, so where you're looking at will always look slightly different, just depending on where you're viewing it from. You know, but we're looking at the same thing. And that was the point in my video today. Attempting to share that in the most articulate way possible without getting sidetracked and too excited and distracted by fat robins and spiders hanging from trees. But I suppose, you know, being out, yes, I can hear you. Thank you, you too. You know, being out every dawning helps me to remember these things when I come out and I sit and I look around me and I sit in stillness and quiet and sit with myself. That's where I get these realizations, and I shut off, you know, the false narrative of fear and delusion and And so I was actually thinking about doing another live meditation. I have missed doing them with you guys. Like, I really enjoyed the last time. I could say Regina was raining. That was quite fun. But I was thinking of a really nice time to do it, and I thought about solstice dawning would be a really nice day to do a live meditation. So on the 21st, Saturday the 21st, I am going to be doing a live dawning meditation. If you'd like to join me, even for 5 minutes, to just celebrate the fact that the light is returning. The light is going to be returning. The days are going to be getting longer, and the warmth is going to come back. And it's a step closer to having my feet out again and not wearing stupid shoes. Yeah, and so Saturday the 21st of December, obviously, I will be doing a live dawning meditation. It will probably be a little bit later. It'll probably be about, I don't know, maybe some suggestions would be nice. What time, roughly? I mean, I know you can always watch it later anyway, it doesn't really matter. But it would be nice to have the, you know, the collective consciousness, the collective space, the collective energy, you know, together, like celebrating the light returning, the just gratitude for, you know, the sun and life and existence, and yeah. So yeah, 21st. And then I also thought about doing a live poetry reading. Oh, very fancy. And I was thinking, well, what kind of day would I do that? And like, we don't really celebrate Christmas here. We don't do it on the 25th. We do solstice. We kind of use Christmas Day as a day to like chill, relax, just do nothing, because it's like the only day that everybody stops, like bustling and shops are shut, and it's a really nice still energy. And so I like to utilise that really for myself. I don't like to have to busy around and visit people and go to places and cook shitloads of food. I like to just do nothing. just be. And then I thought, well, everybody's going to be kind of doing their Christmassy things on Christmas Day. So I thought about Christmas Eve or Boxing Day. It would be a cool time to do it. So I thought, I suppose a lot of people do things on Christmas Eve, don't they? They go to places and go out, and Boxing Day is a more chilled time. So I thought Boxing Day would be better. So I thought about doing a live Boxing Day poetry reading of my poetry. And because I'm usually in meditation space when I do my live meditations, I don't ever really look at the chat. I don't ever I do occasionally, but I don't want to be in that space of communicating with people when I'm trying to meditate and be with the universe and observe life. So I don't really the only reason I have my phone next to me is just so I can check that it is actually recording and doing the thing. But I don't tend to respond to chat or anything. So I thought if I did a poetry reading, it would be really cool to do a chat, a Q&A. You can chat and I'll answer. You can ask me some questions. I am aware that my YouTube thing is quite broad. It's a very broad channel. Some people have suggested that I narrow it down to just a few things, and I can't narrow it down because that would be snipping off bits of myself. And I'm not just one or two things. I'm so many things, as we all are. But there's the music, and there's poetry, and there's my barefoot thing, and then there's my chatting shit and my garden stuff and my herbs and kitchen witchery. And so if there's anything you want to chat about, and there's recently I suppose I've been talking about sobriety, and there's a neurodiverse thing, and there's so many things that you could chat to me about if you want to. And I'll do my best to answer. There's God and religion and spirituality and all sorts of things. Fucking so many things. So, Boxing Day, live poetry with a little Q&A chatty thing. That socialising thing that I'm not very good at, usually. So I'd be really happy to see you there. It would make me very glad and full of joy, and if not, that's fine. But I will be there on Boxing Day. The sky's so pretty today. It looks like someone's dabbed it with white, blue paint, and then dabbed it with white paint with cotton wool balls. Beautiful. So that's it for me today, I think. Best get on with my day. I've got some video editing to do and some household chores to do. But I hope you have a blessed day. I hope you enjoy your weekend. Find something to smile about. Do something that makes you happy and makes you full of joy. And I look forward to seeing you on Solstice and Boxing Day, if you can join me. And keep smiling, keep being in gratitude, keep loving, and especially yourself. And I love you. Have a great day. Oh, sun is shining. So far.